world's greatest swordsman. Yeah. Anyway, I'm here because I talked to your father today. He said that I'd learned everything that I could here in the village, and, well, that I was welcome to go forth and prove myself as a swordsman. So I guess that this is goodbye, and I wanted to make my peace with you before I left. So I just wanted to say that I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what happened. I'm sorry for what I said. I'm just sorry that things happen this way, and okay? You were my greatest rival, my best friend, damn it. Hold myself. For everything. And I lost you. And now I'm going to do what we set out to do, what we agreed to do that night. And I'll admit, I blame myself every time I close my eyes. I blame myself for what happened. And in order to make up for that, I'm going on this quest. Actually, have the swords from that day. I have my swords, as well as your sword. And I've actually been working on a new sword style. I call it Santoryu. It's a 3-sword style, so that I can wield my blades as well as yours. Yeah. And I just wanted to say that no matter what happens, I will come back, and I will be the world's greatest swordsman. I've heard talk of this swordsman named Mihawk. They've been touting him as the best, but I know that with your sword, that I can take him and I can fulfill our dream. And if I happen to fall in that fight, well, I can't let that happen. I have to do that for us. Otherwise, your death, my training, it will have been for nothing. And I'm not going to allow that. So I guess I have to start my journey. Just one last thing I want to do before I go. To show how strong my faith is, leave some of my blood with you so that even if I do die, we'll still be together. God damn it. So, yeah, that was just a small part of Zolo's backstory. Anyway, for those of you who don't know the character Zolo, he's Zoro. There's a translation thing, so, you know, it bounces between the two for whatever stupid reason. So I don't want to hear all the comments of, it's actually Zoro instead of Zolo. Sorry, I heard Zolo first. Don't hate. Sorry. But anyway, you know, Zolo, or Zoro, is from the anime One Piece. Probably one of the most hated on animes, at least the American dub. Because, well, for kids, yeah. Yeah, they hit that thing pretty hard sometimes with, like, changes and crap, so yeah. There's that. But anyway, Zolo is actually one of the main characters in the series. He's the first mate of Captain Monkey D. Luffy of the Straw Hat Pirates. And, you know, one of Zolo's basic things is the fact that he wields 3 swords in what is referred to as Santoryu, or 3-sword style. Yeah, no, very creative, but I at least like the original name better. It sounds so much cooler, Santoryu. But anyway, you know, like I portrayed in the little scene, you know, he came from a village with his friend Kuina, and, you know, he was trying to become a swordsman there. And at childhood, they'd made a promise to each other that one of them would become the greatest swordsman in the world. Unfortunately, the next day, Kuina fell down the stairs, broke her neck, and killed herself. Because, and they never really established in the series if Zolo knows the reasoning behind why it happened and how he feels about it. At least that I haven't seen it yet. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But basically, they'd had a duel the night before, and she beat him for the, I want to say, like 200th time. They said on the wiki, honestly, it was a crazy amount of duels, and they'd won every time. So Zolo, in a fit of rage, so, you know, they talked for a minute after that, basically saying, you know, how one day Zolo was to pass her because as she matured, she wouldn't be as great a swordsman. I don't know what the logic behind that idea was, and, you know, if you want to shed some light on that, feel free, but, yeah. So Zolo, getting mad at this, you know, says, you have to promise me that either you or I will become the world's greatest swordsman. Because, I mean, like, she was probably 11 or 12, and he looked to be between 8 and 10 at this point. You know, so it was just brash anger at the fact that, oh, hey, she kicked my ass, but now she's telling me, oh, I'm gonna suck in the future, and da-da-da-da-da. Because, I mean, dude, that would hurt my fucking ego pretty hard, too. You know, I'll be honest. So, yeah. That's what originally set Zolo on his path to become the world's greatest swordsman. Oh wait, shit, I forgot a little part of that. You know, they had that little conversation, so the next day, she has to get a sharpening stone to sharpen the swords they used in that duel. But unfortunately, it falls, breaks her neck, and, yeah, she dies. So Zolo, you know, living up to that promise, sets out to become the world's greatest swordsman. He spends hours upon hours every day training, you know, his swordsmanship to become better and greater and stronger. And like I said, he develops Santoryu. So he wields his 2 black swords, if I can pull them out. You know, his swords. As well as Kuina's 1 sword. You know, from the infamous duel that they had. You know, I assume it's some spiritual thing so that she can stay with him, and that she also will have become the world's greatest swordsman, at least, you know, through spirit. And, I mean, I can really appreciate that about the character. You know, he didn't set out for selfish reasons of, oh, I'm going to find fame and glory and yada yada yada. No, he's doing it to fulfill the dream that he set with his childhood friend that unfortunately passed away. And I'll be honest, like, before I even decided to make this video, I didn't know most of this. You know, I just knew, oh hey, he's a guy with 3 swords, you know, he has the bandana thing, he's just a cool badass. And I mean, dude, you watch the show, he has some awesome freaking moves. Like the Onigiri, Dragon Twister, oh my god, there's just... But, yeah, after having done all this research and learning all this different information about the character Zolo, you know, like, I grew to respect him that much more, because, I mean, he's not just, you know, some one-note character. And, I mean, you look at some of the other One Piece characters, and, I mean, you'll find the same kind of things. They have well-developed backstories that make you love and care about these people, at least for me. So I'm just going to tell you guys right now, this isn't going to be the last time that I do a One Piece character. You know, I can at least think of one maybe 2 more characters that I would like to do. For the others that I don't think I can do, I'm going to do, you know, little character spotlights, which is going to be a new series that I'm going to have to talk about at some point. But anyway, you know, this is about Zolo. So like I said, you know, he developed Santoryu so he could take Kuina's sword as well as his own swords to fight and become the world's greatest swordsman. Now, the version of Zolo that I'm portraying is actually somewhat before One Piece even begins, because he actually joins pretty early on, like episode 2 or 3. But yeah, the version I'm doing is, you know, like I showed Zolo before he leaves on his journey to become the world's greatest swordsman, because that's the version of Zolo that I like, the younger version. Because later on in the series, you know, he goes through some changes and he becomes more badass, don't get me wrong. You know, but I like young Zolo because, well, because he overcomes some serious obstacles, you know, in his fighting. So, I mean, like, I'm thinking of the early One Piece, the first couple of sagas. You know, Buggy, Arlong Park, oh, fuck, there's one other one. But, oh, and the Barati saga is what I was thinking of. Like, those 3 sagas are what I've seen up through, at least fully. You know, I've seen some stuff afterwards, but anyway. In the first saga, the Buggy saga, you know, he actually gets stabbed, like, probably right around here or so, in the side. And he has to fight a swordsman named Kabaji who rides a unicycle. You know, the dude, like, sorry, it was the other side. But anyway, you know, the dude kicks him so many times in his hurt side, and, like, it causes Zolo to cry out and fall down in pain, and it's just ridiculous. Like, he's getting his ass kicked by this guy. And it's some fucking bullshit, because the dude's taking advantage of his injury. But he overcomes that. Like, you know, he just does, like, after a certain point in the fight, after, like, 3 or 4 kicks, you know, he's like, go ahead, attack my wound, I don't care. So, like, they have this awesome scene where the dude just whizzes past on his unicycle, slices into him, and Zolo doesn't even react. So I'm thinking, you know, he's hit that pain pinnacle where, hey, I don't feel it anymore. What's up now? But yeah, so he beats Kabaji despite that injury. And the second saga that I'm thinking of, the Barati saga, you know, we actually get to see Hawkeye's Mihawk, you know, the world's greatest swordsman. The swordsman that Zolo set out to fight and defeat to become the world's greatest. And I want to say, you know, that he wins and, you know, happy ending and yada yada yada, but that isn't the case. He gets his ass handed to him, flat out, by Mihawk. Mihawk is just insanely good like that, and Zolo is pretty, like, he's good. Basically, well, to put it in perspective, basically, I guess, the world's divided up into 4 oceans, north, south, east, and west blues. Zolo is the strongest swordsman in East Blue, which is, unfortunately, probably the weakest of the 4 oceans. Hawkeye actually says that to him directly. But, yeah. Funny thing about the fight is, you know, even though Zolo loses, like, you know, Hawkeye's throughout their fight sees, you know, this determination, you know, just the determination that Zolo has, and he really respects him for that. You know, so in the end, you know, he stabs Zolo in the chest with a penknife, you know, practically in his heart. You know, Zolo just can't back down. You know, he's like, if you don't move, I'm going to kill you. And he just says, you know, I think that death will be better. Because if I take a step back now, I'd be giving up on my dream. And I can't do that. You know, so Hawkeye is taken back by that, steps back, and actually pulls out his great sword. Like this big, black, badass sword. And, you know, he offers Zolo one last go at it to see who's the better of the two. So, they go at it. Zolo uses, I believe it's a new technique, 1,000 Worlds or something like that. I'm so sorry for not naming names right. But, yeah, you know, they clash, and Mihawk breaks his two black swords. You know, Kuina's sword that he has in his mouth stays unbroken. You know, so Zolo sheathes the two broken swords, you know, as well as the other sword. You know, stands up, turns around, and just holds his arms out like, come at me, bro. Sorry, I just have to make that joke, but, you know, again, Hawkeye is taken back. He's like, what are you doing? And Zolo just looks up at him and says, you know, it's unhonorable to strike a man from behind. You know, Hawkeye agrees and literally slices him from, I want to say, it's either right or left shoulder. I'm bad with directions. But right or left shoulder down to about his hip. And blood sprays everywhere in the Japanese and potentially Funimation dub. You know, so it's pretty freaking extreme. And he falls into the ocean after that. But he's healed up, and he comes back. Well, actually, after he falls in the ocean... Well, I'm really bad at this. You know, as he's sliced, Hawkeye says to him, you know, fight and become stronger so that we can clash once again, or something to that effect. You know, so Zolo's picked up out of the ocean, brought onto a ship so they can look at him, and he holds up, you know, Kuina's sword. He says, you know, that I will not be defeated again. You know, and that I will face you again, Mihawk, and I will beat you. And so that's his part in the Brody saga. And the final thing is during Arlong Park. He has to duel a 6-armed octopus man known as a merman named Hachi. You know, and basically Zolo has the big handicap of Mihawk's sword slash. Like, he's been healed up, he's been stitched up, but this has been, you know, this was not very long ago. So he's still feeling some serious issues from it. You know, he's got fever, he's delirious, he can't even stand up fully half the time in the fight. It's ridiculous. But, you know, he fights the good fight against Hachi and actually comes out on top and introduces a new technique in the process. And I mean, I'd say the fight with Hachi is my favorite, just because of, you know, what he talks about and that, how his swords have more weight, you know, and just seeing him overcome this injury that, you know, some of the spectators say would have killed normal men. You know, that just solidifies the fact that Zolo is something superhuman. But really he's not. And for the record, there are superhuman people in the One Piece series. And, you know, later on in the series, he goes toe-to-toe with some of these superhuman characters. You know, a guy who's made completely out of blades. Freaking, you know, other great swordsmen and such. And it's just badass seeing this normal guy stand up to, you know, guys like that and come out on top. You know, but like I said, in the early parts, it's about Zolo overcoming pain and injury and serious disadvantage. In the later part of the series, it's, you know, he's totally good and he's fighting these guys, and you know, he's still coming out on top. You know, and I can totally respect that. I just like the whole, you know, having to press on in spite of injury and such. That's what makes him badass, in my opinion, and that's why I like the early version of Zolo. Later Zolo, yes, he's badass and he's cool, but you know, he's got a pretty good grasp on his swordsmanship at that point. So it's not so much about, oh hey, you know, overcoming something as, you know, just besting his opponent. And again, while that's respectable, I like the early stuff just because it's pretty badass. Oh yeah, dude, I was like, I fell unconscious, you know, I couldn't see straight, and I still took on that six-armed bastard. God. Yeah, so that's all I really have to say on Zolo at this point. Unfortunately, I'm feeling like, because of time constraints, I'm going to have to put the how I did it into a part 2 for this video. So, yeah, I mean, unless there is a good amount of time, I'll determine that when I'm editing and go from there. But, yeah, so you'll either see how I did it now, or you'll see it in the next part. Anyway, guys, you know, as always, thanks for watching. You know, have a good day, afternoon. You know, leave me comments, thoughts, opinions on the costume, you know, on my hair dyeing process, you know, on my swords, on, you know, anything. You know, let me know what you think. If you have suggestions, feel free to shout them out, because I'd kind of like to have some more ideas on what to do. You know, I have my things that I plan on doing, but if you have other characters that, you know, you want to see in the spotlight or be cosplayed or something, you know, hit me up. You know, I'm willing to take any thoughts, ideas, suggestions that you guys might have. But yeah, on that note, I'm probably going to clean myself up and, you know, get on with the next one. I'm Valiant, and I am the Amateur Cosplayer. See ya.